we have gone to the bogs, which is where the whole thing starts. The first bogs that were formed in Ireland was about 7,000 BC. The bog oak started around 3,000 BC, same age as Newgrange. They are Bronze Age pieces. When you go into the bog, you're always looking for something that's sticking out, and you'll be looking to dig out and remove anything you can. It's a real treasure hunt. You never know what you're going to get to, but these pieces are the same age as any of the megalithic structures around Ireland. They're so ancient. The whole history of Ireland is wrapped up in each piece. If they could be read, then the DNA would be from small Celtic tribes, basically families, developing up to the beginning of civilization. And after that, then the whole process, I mean, the megalithic tombs that were done, the portal tombs, the Bronze Age, all that period started at the same time. These were standing oak trees, and even as oak trees, they were 200-300 years old. So they are full, and the heritage of Ireland is totally encased in each piece. And it is the heart of Ireland. I call it the heart of Ireland, and that's exactly what it is. It is the heart of Ireland. When I get to the drying shed, the first thing I have to do is make it dry very slowly, because the slower it dries, the harder and blacker it becomes. I can't let it dry too quickly, so usually they go into the ground and are buried for about a year, and then they come into this shed. When the piece comes back from the bog, I will do the first clean on it, get any loose dirt off, but then the next phase is to get the piece to dry very slowly, because if it's allowed to dry by itself, it'll crack and split. So usually that will go into a hole and then be buried again in sawdust. The piece will now lie in here for about a year before it's ready to move on to the next phase. This shed is where pieces are just about ready to start being cleaned and ready to move on to the final preparation. The pieces that are in here are at least 2 or 3 years old, and they've been drying here, and these are the shapes and sizes of these, but it's all but until you see how they're drying, you can't really sort of see what's in the piece. There's another piece which has got wonderful shape, which is a piece I'm just about to start. I'd like to work on. That's as you can see, this piece is I've had this at least 3 years, and but with all the shapes and curves that are in this, it's going to make a magnificent piece. At this stage is when I would look carefully at them to see what is in the piece. It's the creative side now, where I can look and trying to interpret the piece. When the piece is here now, that either I'll work and turn it and form it into something, or if I'm lucky, the natural shape will tell me exactly where it wants to go. This is a stage that mustn't be rushed, because this is, at this stage now, the final piece is where it is born, and it starts to develop. This is the next phase we go through. This is a piece has been cleaned now. It's had a first coat of thin teak oil on it. Has to be very clear and thin so that it doesn't discolour the piece. It's got to be kept clear. It's starting to get its final shape. Also, you can see the different elements of it. That's a phase that I've cut. This was a piece that's been split. Again, at this stage, anything that's loose on it needs to be carved and removed. a lot of the pieces I do, I tend to keep the natural shape, because that's its history, that's where it's come from, that's its age. And what I'll do then is one face, 9 times out of 10, I will make perfectly clear and smooth. Small sections which are inside, again, the final cleaning just under the surface. As you can see, it's black, totally black. This really now will start to progress to the final piece. Okay, now we have got to the final stage of the work, where everything has been cleaned, oiled, sanded down. There's been, probably have 5 or 6 coats of oil on it by now, and this is when I will do what's necessary to finish the piece. You can see with the final hand chisels are what I use to get that last, take off any loose edges and start to carve. So this is the slow process. This is the piece that takes forever. The sanding goes from a fairly rough grit into almost nothing, and that's where I try and get this good finish on the piece. As you can see, this has got there's hardly any grit on this piece now. A natural rose has been formed inside the wood. This is when you're lucky and you find something nice that tells you to make it where you're going. Each stage has to be cleaned, and like when I leave the rough natural bark effect on one side, that's the side where the face has been cleared, and that's the ohm writing that I've carved in there. Because the bog oak is approximately 5,000 years old and has been carbon dated to about 3000 BC, the ohm writing is around 1000 BC. It seems to be, it's a symbol that seems to work very well with the bog oak. The age of the bog oak, again with this ancient language, I think they've got a wonderful combination there. And then from my point of view, just to get it as smooth and as clean as possible on that face, leaving the back face with its age and its history evident. This is the final position. This is what I dream of getting to every time I work on the piece. This is where my head is always looking for that. Where is it going to finish? And these are the finished articles.